or discuss with these guys is because this guy won one ring or won two rings or won, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning.
I hope we see a level of toughness with the game coming back, and I hope he calls everybody.
Well,
I hope he calls everybody.
Michael Jordan, I know, when talking basketball, he is as candid as he gets.
The NBA is standing on the edge of a moment unlike anything it's ever seen before. Michael Jordan, the man who defined greatness, the legend who turned basketball into a global religion, is stepping back into the game in a way that could shake the very foundation of the league. But let's be crystal clear. This isn't Jordan lacing up his sneakers to drop 50 on some unsuspecting defender. This isn't nostalgia, a highlight reel, or a ceremonial walk down memory lane. This is Michael Jeffrey Jordan returning to the conversation, not just as an untouchable icon, but as a voice, a presence, and a force of truth in a league that many feel has lost its edge. For years, fans and analysts have argued endlessly. What would Jordan think of today's NBA? Would he respect it? Would he shake his head at it? Would he even recognize the game he once ruled with an iron fist? Well, we're finally about to find out. And make no mistake, this isn't going to be polished or politically correct. Jordan has never been built that way. He doesn't sugarcoat, he doesn't cater to feelings, and he doesn't pander to social media outrage. He's wired for one thing, winning. And when he speaks, it cuts sharp. He has no patience for excuses, no tolerance for softness, and no interest in lowering the bar just to make people comfortable. That's why his return matters. Because today's NBA operates in an age of careful narratives, PR-approved sound bites, and image management. Players choose their words cautiously, teams play it safe, brands control the message. Everyone is terrified of backlash, of headlines, of a viral clip spiraling on Twitter. But Jordan? He comes from a different world. His era wasn't about followers, it was about battles. Your worth wasn't measured by likes, it was measured by rings. And when Stephen A. Smith warns that Jordan's voice will cut through this generation with brutal honesty, believe it. Because Jordan's honesty isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And clarity is exactly what the league has been starving for. Expect him to call out the softness. Expect him to question the stars who dodge challenges or avoid accountability. Expect him to shred the culture of super teams and stacked rosters. He'll highlight weaknesses, expose flaws, and demand standards most players today may not be ready to hear. But that sting, that uncomfortable truth, is exactly what the NBA needs. Because fans are tired. Tired of empty interviews. Tired of meaningless platitudes. Tired of the same recycled answers that feel like PR scripts. They want authenticity. They want fire. They want someone to remind them what this game is supposed to stand for. And nobody in the history of basketball has spoken with more weight, more authority, or more conviction than Michael Jordan. This isn't nostalgia. This is a wake-up call. A reminder that greatness is more than stats, more than brand deals, more than viral highlights. Jordan's return isn't about reliving his past, it's about redefining the present. And when the GOAT speaks, the entire world listens.
He's gonna be brutal.
Stephen A. Smith doesn't just call Michael Jordan honest. He takes it a step further, using one word that defines everything about him: candor. And in basketball terms, candor isn't just telling the truth. It's stripping away the fluff, throwing politics out the window, and speaking with raw conviction. And no one embodies that better than Jordan. This is the man who challenged teammates so hard in practice that they either rose with him, or got left behind. The man who stared down rivals and told them, flat out, that he was going to take their heart, and then actually did it. The man who never let himself off the hook when he came up short. He demanded accountability from everyone, including himself. That's what candor looks like. And now, that same uncompromising mindset is what Jordan is bringing back into today's NBA. He won't hesitate to call out players who chase stats instead of wins. He won't hesitate to question coaches who play it safe instead of taking risks. And he won't hesitate to hold front offices accountable when they make flashy moves for attention instead of building sustainable success. Because candor, real candor, is exactly what the modern game has been missing. Too many voices today sound rehearsed, polished, and manufactured by PR teams and brand managers. Everyone's careful. Everyone's protecting the brand. But Jordan? He doesn't do rehearsed. He doesn't do brand safe. He doesn't do filtered. When Michael Jordan speaks, fans know one thing: he means every word. There's no spin, no hidden agenda, just raw truth. And that truth carries a weight no one else in basketball can match. Make no mistake, Jordan's candor is going to sting. It's going to reopen debates the league would rather keep buried. Debates about competition, about players ducking smoke, and about how much of today's game is authentic versus how much is just social media highlight reels. That's the power of Jordan's candor. It acts like a mirror that forces the NBA to confront its flaws, whether it wants to or not. Some won't like what they see. Some will get defensive. But fans? Fans will love it. Because for years, they've been starving for authenticity. And nobody in the history of basketball delivers that better than Michael Jordan.
I know, when talking basketball, he is as candid as it gets.
Stephen A. Smith makes a crucial point. Michael Jordan has never been shy about his opinions. But what Stephen A. is promising goes beyond that. He's not just saying Jordan will speak, he's saying he'll push him further. If Jordan even shows a hint of hesitation, Stephen A. will be right there, challenging him, pressing him, amplifying him, making sure his voice cuts through louder than ever. That alone changes everything. This isn't Jordan stopping by for a one-off interview or tossing out a couple of polite sound bites. No, this is about building a consistent presence, a dialogue, a running commentary, where Jordan's perspective doesn't fade into the background. It becomes the centerpiece of the conversation. And that matters, because let's be honest, today's NBA discourse is shallow. Analysts love their numbers, box scores, highlight plays, and trade rumors. But very few dare to go deeper. Very few are willing to question effort, toughness, or mentality. Those are the pillars Jordan lived and breathed. And now, his voice will drag those forgotten qualities back into the spotlight. Picture this: a nationally televised game. A young star avoids his defensive assignment in crunch time. Another settles for a lazy step-back jumper instead of attacking the rim. Normally, those moments get glossed over by flashy highlight packages. But now, imagine Jordan watching live, then calling it out directly. No excuses, no sugarcoating, just straight exposure. That's the difference. With Jordan in the mix, the league won't be able to hide behind polished narratives anymore. The PR-driven spin collapses under the weight of his eyes and his words. Because Jordan doesn't just watch the game, he dissects it. He sees what others miss. And he's never afraid to strip the game down to its raw truth. And with Stephen A. sitting across from him, daring him, pressing him, amplifying him, it guarantees Jordan won't stay quiet. He won't brush past the tough questions. He'll be pushed to speak louder, clearer, sharper. For fans, this is a gift. For the first time, the greatest competitor in basketball history won't just be remembered. He'll be heard. And every word will be a reality check the NBA desperately needs.
And I don't think that he's going to be shy about saying what he sees at all. If he is, he's going to have to deal with me because I'm going to be in his ear telling him, oh, we get shy now. That's what we do. That's what we do. That ain't the one I named him MJ, I know.
This is where the conversation explodes. Stephen A. Smith gives LeBron James his credit, but then he pivots hard. He points to what he believes truly weakened the NBA, the birth of the super team era. His argument is simple, sharp, and impossible to ignore. LeBron's decision in 2010 to take his talents to South Beach didn't just change his own career path. It set off a domino effect across the league. Instead of the best players wanting to battle each other head-to-head, they started teaming up. Instead of rivals clashing, they started uniting. Competition wasn't being forged anymore, it was being sidestepped. And for Michael Jordan, that's blood in the water. That's the exact kind of trend he would shred without hesitation. Because Jordan's greatness was never built on shortcuts. He didn't chase safety nets. He carved his legacy in fire, through battles, through wars, through scars that only the greatest could survive. He had to take punch after punch from the bad boy Pistons before he finally broke through them. He had to stare down the ghost of Showtime and Magic Johnson and snatch the crown. He didn't join forces with rivals. He crushed them. And that's exactly why his era carried so much weight. Back then, the NBA was sharpened by competition. Your blade got stronger only by clashing against the sharpest steel. Players didn't run to join their challengers, they sharpened themselves by defeating them. So when Stephen A. points to LeBron's move as the start of the super team culture, it aligns perfectly with what Jordan himself is expected to call out. Because Jordan's DNA is wired around one belief: greatness is not about finding the easiest road. It's about conquering the hardest one. And that's the real critique of today's NBA. Too many players chase the comfortable path. Stack the roster. Build the safety net. Avoid the grind. But Jordan? He'll never let that slide. He'll remind everyone that true greatness isn't earned in curated super squads. It's earned when you walk into battle outnumbered, outmatched, and still refuse to fold. Fans want that message. They crave it. Because deep down, they know the league has lost some of its edge. Rivalries don't cut as deep. Regular season games don't sting as much. And championships, when won by super teams, don't carry the same weight. That's where Jordan's voice becomes vital. He'll make today's stars uncomfortable. He'll make organizations rethink their strategies. And he'll make fans demand more from the idols they worship. And here's the kicker: this won't just be nostalgia. This won't just be back in my day talk. It will be a direct challenge, right here, right now, for today's players to reconsider what legacy really means. Because when Michael Jordan looks you in the eye and says, "Greatness isn't about who you join. It's about who you beat," that's not opinion. That's gospel.
Fine, I can side with that. Not for the reasons you're articulating. The reason why is when he joined Miami.
Patrick Bet-David speaks directly to something every true basketball fan feels deep down but rarely says out loud. The NBA has lost something. That raw toughness. That grit. That unforgiving edge that once defined the game. It's not the same anymore. And when Patrick says he hopes Michael Jordan calls out everyone who's softened and weakened the league, he's not asking for hot takes. He's demanding accountability. Because Jordan didn't just play in an era of toughness. He set the standard. Back then, you couldn't fake it on the floor. You couldn't hide behind whistles, rule changes, or carefully curated highlight reels. When you stepped on the court, you stepped into war. And Jordan was the general. He demanded that every battle be fought to the very last ounce of energy. But his toughness went far beyond elbows, hand checks, or hard fouls. It was psychological. It was mental warfare. Jordan broke opponents before they even touched the ball. He got inside their heads, exposed their weaknesses, and made them question their belief in themselves. That's what separated him. That's why he wasn't just the most talented. He was the most relentless. Today's game is different. The rules are softer. Rivalries are watered down. Players bounce from team to team looking for easier roads. You see flopping. You see load management. You see stars ducking defensive assignments while prioritizing branding over legacy. And a league shaped by social media and PR spin too often rewards flash instead of fire. That's why Patrick Bet-David is right. The NBA needs Jordan's voice now more than ever. Not as a nostalgic legend looking back, but as a living authority reminding everyone what the game truly demands. Imagine Jordan courtside, watching a superstar flop instead of fighting through contact, and then calling it out publicly. Imagine him dissecting stars who duck competition or abandon their franchises. Imagine him saying without hesitation that prioritizing fashion shows, TikTok highlights, and shoe sales over chasing greatness is an insult to basketball itself. It would shake the league to its core. Because Jordan's words aren't commentary, they're law. They carry a weight no other voice in the game can match. He's not just another analyst. He's not another retired veteran recycling stories. He's the measuring stick. The iron standard. The living embodiment of what real basketball requires. And that's the truth Patrick is pointing to. Until today's NBA begins honoring toughness again, not just physical toughness, but mental and competitive toughness, it will always pale in comparison to the era Jordan ruled.